Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in this episode I'm going to teach you how to draw trend lines. So in my previous lesson, I think it was called lesson 1, we went over candlesticks. If you haven't seen that video, I'd advise you to go check that one out quickly first before you moving on, because it'll be a lot easier to understand. So before we dive in, I really appreciate if you just go down, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. If you want more episodes like this that'll teach you and help you with your trading, it would help me out that if you just like and subscribe. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, so we have the Binance chart opened here, and you see I've got my red and green candles. So we're in the daily time frame. So each candle is a representation of the price action within 24 hours. So when I draw trend lines, I like to go for the higher term time frames first, because you can get lost in the lower time frames, like as in the 1 minute chart, the 2 minute, 15 minute. Like when I draw trend lines, I mainly just focus on the daily or the 4-hour chart. So let's dive into it. Okay, so we're using TradingView. We'll select our trend line here. And there's no 100% correct way of drawing trend lines. You could easily get in an argument at a bar if you made some other technical analysis. All I gotta say is whatever suits your type of trading. Now, some people would say you have to use the wicks. Other traders would say no, you have to go close to the bodies. There's no 100% right way of doing it. So for me, I use both. It depends on the chart itself. Sometimes I find it easier to just pick the peaks or the peak of the wicks, and sometimes I just pick the bodies. So for this example here, I'm going to start off with this wick here at this height, and then I'll bring down my line, and I'll leave it roughly about here. So as you can see here, it like wicked up here, got rejected here, and this is the starting point of my line. So then I'll draw another lower trend line. So I'll pick this wick here, and I'll bring it up here like this. So you need at least 2 touches of the wicks to form a trend line. If you get 3, it's better, it's confirmation. So essentially, with trend lines, there's 2 ways. Well, there's many ways, but there's 2 ways that I use regularly to trade it. So it could be you could be a breakout trader where where the price breaks out of the trend. So you'd see it, and then it would come back, retest, and then fly off again. And on the retest of the trend line, it would break out, come back, retest the trend line. So this trend line would, instead of acting as resistance, it would act as support, and then it would move higher. Other ways you could trade it would be that you could buy at the supporting trend line, and then sell when it reaches the top of the higher trend line. Or you could do the opposite. You could sell short when it's at the higher trend line, and then sell short, and then you'd take profits and close your position once it goes down to the lower trend line. So this is another example of a trend line. So I drew my top trend line here, and this was my second point. This is the lower wick, and it touched off these 2 candles. Okay, so we're going to see what the price is going to do now. So I'm going to replay this. This is an old chart that I'm going to replay. So as you can see now, the price is dropping down again. It's chopping around in this area. big wick up here, kissed the top trend line. Now it's selling off again, complete sell off, and see if it can get support on that the lower time trend line, and it does. It bounced back up again, got another touch on the higher trend line. But it's starting to sell off again now. Yeah, broke the trend line, and now you could go short here, and it completely sells off. So what is a trend line? Trend lines are easily recognizable lines that traders draw on charts to connect a series of prices together or show some data's best fit. The resulting line is then used to give the trader a good idea of the direction in which an investment value might move. A trend line is a line drawn over pivot highs or under pivot lows to show the prevailing direction of price. So the pivot highs or pivot lows would be either the peaks in price or what I like to call the troughs. So the high peaks would be the higher highs, and then the troughs then would be the lower lows. So a trend line is a line drawn over pivot highs or under pivot lows to show the prevailing direction of price. Trend lines are a visual representation of support and resistance in any time frame. They show direction and speed of price and also describe patterns during periods of price contraction. Key takeaways. Trend lines indicate the best fit of some data using a single line or a curve. A single trend line can be applied to a chart to give a clear picture of the trend line. Trend lines can be applied to the highs and the lows to create a channel. The trend period being analyzed and the exact points used to create a trend line vary from trader to trader. So we can watch this quick video on Investopedia's explanation of trend lines.
A trend line is a way to measure the reaction of investors to the fluctuations of stock prices. When analyzed, this information can be helpful in determining the best time to buy and sell certain positions. When investors look at a stock's price chart over a long period of time, they will see a roller coaster of spikes and dips in price. The dips usually represent the point at which large numbers of investors find a stock attractively priced and start buying it, increasing the stock's volume and price. The spikes indicate when a stock's price has reached a high enough level to make investors lose interest in buying and encourage sellers to liquidate their shares. This activity forces the price down. Trend lines can indicate support levels and resistance levels. Support trend lines identify the reduced price that most often prompts an increase in buys. The resistance trend line identifies the point at which a stock's price is high enough to prompt a sell-off and a drop in price. Trend lines can help investors anticipate the future price swings of a security and recognize the price that may represent the optimal time to buy or sell a position. When they find the support and resistance trends and illustrate each of them with a line, almost like connecting the dots, they can see the overall direction of the price go up or down over time.
So there you have it, folks. There is your lesson on trend lines. If you like this video, please support me by going down, hitting the like button, hit the subscribe button so you won't miss future trading content. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.